Here at Chip Off the Old Block Toys, we love the Bricklink Designer Series program. In fact, we just finished up the Bricklink Designer Series 5 program, except for the last one. We're still building that one on live streams. But if you love them as much as I do, I've got great news for you. Lego yesterday dropped the designs, or the finalists, for the Bricklink Designer Series 9. There are 5 sets as usual. They're planning on starting off with 30,000 again, but it all depends on the crowdfunding, which crowdfunding is October 7th of 2026. Yeah, I know, just about a year away, 11 months. Whew, quite a long time to wait. However, that doesn't mean that we can't gawk over them right now. And that's what I'd like to do for the next little bit with you. Let's go over and looking at all of them. And basically, these sets have to meet a minimum crowdfunding amount, which I don't think there's going to be any difficulty doing that. I mean, all these sets are great in the lineup. And in fact, I can't really, maybe there has been, but I can't remember any that haven't been funded, crowdfunded. So anyway, let's go ahead and let's drop a like on this, or Rumble if you're watching on Rumble. And just remember, these videos, they are Enzo approved. The first set in the Bricklink Designer Series 9 takes us back in time to the Wild West. This has been a reoccurring theme in the Bricklink Designer Program, and it's a great theme, and I love it. This is just another great one, and it's called the Wild West Blacksmith. This set, it features 2,513 pieces, and from what I can see, 5 minifigures, but they don't list that yet, so I'm just looking at the pictures and guessing there might be one inside that I don't know about, but from this picture, it looks like 5. And just looking at the front, I immediately see some things that I really like. I see 3 different cacti plants. I see this rock formation. I see this hand pump here. I see a stool sitting here on the front porch. I see a barrel, a wanted poster. How appropriate is that for the Wild West? Imagine that. Somebody's wanted, dead or alive. Sorry, Bon Jovi. We have some tools right here. We've got an anvil here, and we've got a sack sitting over here, and a table with some different probably kinds of metal, I would guess. And then we've got this water tower here. We've got a water windmill here. It's just a great set. And look at this roof with the different colors and the repair job. Now, that does not surprise me, as my shop outside also has that same thing where one of the panels had to be replaced, so it's a slightly different color. So it happens to the best of us. And in this next picture here, it's just kind of a side view of the same thing. You can see this stable, how it's open right here. You can also see a furnace kind of right there next to the rock formation. And I noticed immediately here, I noticed this gears. Now that does come into play in a different picture, and they'll show us exactly what that is about. Okay, so this next one, it's just a side view. You have some tumbleweed here. You've got a bench. You've got this outlet right here, or vent for a wood-burning stove on the inside. You've got this right here, this wood pile. So yeah, you've got a lot going on here. And in the next picture, we've got the back view. And it starts off with these crates, and then you have this chimney here for the blacksmith's furnace on the outside. You have barrels here, and you also have a back door for quick escape, or just if you need to go out the back door. Okay, in this next picture, you see the roof. And you know, this set has 2,500 pieces. First of all, I noticed that the walls right here, it looks like tiles on their sides, so that's probably a lot of the pieces. And in this roof, I mean, just look how many pieces there are. There's got to be a plate underneath there, and then you have these slopes, and then you have these tile modifieds here and all that. So, you know, that's probably where a lot of the pieces are, and plus the base, because it doesn't have a base plate. But in this next picture, here's where the gears are revealed. Why? We've got here the furnace, and you got the bellows here to provide air to the furnace to make the fire even hotter. So when you move this windmill, it moves also the bellows to provide more air. I thought that was a really, really cool touch. And then you see here, We've got some bottles, and we've got another anvil, and we've got some sticks of metal there that he's going to use, and also it looks like a sharpening grindstone thing here. And in the next picture, we have the other half. So we've already seen this part here. We've got the living quarters to this place. So, and there's another picture of it. There's the wood burning stove from the top. There's the bed with the pistol. Now, yeah, imagine that, having to sleep with one eye open in the Wild West. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was great. I love the hat rack. That is so awesome. You've got a treasure chest, and it doesn't have to be a treasure chest in this case because they used to keep stuff in chests when they moved back then instead of boxes like we have now. And here's a chair. There's going to be another view of that in another picture. And here we go. Here's another front view of the furnace itself, and you got the sharpening stone here, some tools around this stump, and then again the anvil with the different pieces of metal, and then the bellows there, and then looks like the side of a crate there. And in the next picture, this is the living quarters. The living quarters does have that chair there that I was talking about, the kitchen table, some sort of cabinet here, and you've got a lantern and a bottle, and again, you've got a plate here, so really good. Oh, and a place to hang some curtains. I noticed he doesn't have any, but, well, they do exist, so it is there. And let's see, we've got in this next picture, oh, look at that. We have got, again, another picture of the front, and this is the last picture. Now, I did fail to mention, and I want to go back to it, that picture that has this right here. This is not the first time that LEGO has had something like this. And in fact, in the medieval market, this is the set here. This is set number 10193. This is a fairly old set because this set was released in 2009. And you can't see it very well, but this water wheel right here, when you move it, it has this hammer that's connected to it, and there's an anvil with a sword on it, and it'll strike it with each revolution of the water wheel. It'll strike the sword that's on the anvil. So this is something that they've tried before, and as I've noticed, or as I mentioned earlier, this isn't the first time they have done Wild West in the Bricklink Designer Series. And in fact, in Series 1, we got the general store. Now, I have a copy of this set, and I absolutely love this. They did the snot technique for the walls here as well. This general store, it does have 1,906 pieces and 5 minifigures. Love that covered wagon. Oh my goodness. That is way better than LEGO using the pieces of canvas they used to use, because my cats always wanted to chew on them. I had to replace a couple of them, and they're expensive, so I'm glad they didn't do that. But anyway, we're not reviewing this set. It's just one of the ones they did, but you gotta love that giant vulture sitting on top of it. Series 2 gave us the logging railway. Now, this one isn't so much Western, but it is Western, because if you look at the truss bridge, that's what reminds me of the Western. And truss bridges, really, there's only a few of them left in the U.S. Most of them have been replaced. And so that's definitely an older Western theme. And plus, this is a little steam engine. So, yeah, I would definitely think this was... The only thing that makes me think it's modern is this generator battery pack thing, which, by the way, I have seen someone use that to motorize this train. But that's not the point of this video. The next one, Series 4. It gave us the actual Wild West train, which I also own a copy of. I love this one. This is just wonderful, and I think it would go great with this new blacksmith. I mean, we've got a little village going here already. And this one has not come out yet, but it has been announced. And in fact, crowdfunding was in October of this year, and this is the Great Gold Mine Expedition. Oh, this one just looks awesome. 3,382 pieces, 13 minifigures, and 8 animals total is what it says in the description. And these, if you have bought these sets, they are expected to ship in March of 2026. The next set in the lineup is just awesome. I mean, look at how much you're getting here. Yes, this does have 3,995 pieces, and from what I can see is 11 minifigures. But that's not what I first noticed. What I noticed is the colors. I mean, just look at this thing. You've got this olive green over here for the general store that just makes, I mean, it looks great. And then the next door, you've got this dark blue on the first level. And then on the second level, you've got the regular pink, the bright pink next to the dark pink. Just really makes it pop. And then right next door, the gifts and souvenirs, you've got this bright light blue next to what looks like dark bluish gray. But anyways, I just notice the colors, they pop. I don't want to review the whole entire thing on this slide, so we will just end there, except for the fishing boat and also the lighthouse, which are, in my opinion, appropriately colored. You've got the rock on the bottom, you got the white, and then you got the red on top and the black cast iron fencing around it. But let's move on to the next picture. The next picture really isn't that fantastic. In fact, it's just the same thing, just with the white background instead of the colorful background. So let's go to the next picture. This next picture, now that's a different story. You've got this cute little gifts and souvenir shop. And I love that it has the light right over it. It's got that tree I was talking about earlier with the fall colors. You've got stairs going down to the dock area, to the water. And then you can see this thing is built on stilts in this rock formation right here. And then you've got these windows right here, which I don't remember seeing that kind of window before, unless it's on its side, which it doesn't appear that it is. So this must be a new window size or one that I'm not familiar with. And then we've got this fisherman here with this lady talking, and their cat's right there, and there's another ladder to get down to the water. And then we've got this anchor on the side and this smokestack and this beautiful roof right here. It looks like it's had a little bit of patchwork and some repair work done to it. Let's head to the next slide here. Here we've got the inside of the store. Now this doesn't do it justice, but thank goodness they took another picture that we're going to see later on where they show us what's inside the store and what's selling. The only thing I really want to mention here is this right here, the steering wheel for the ship. And in the next picture, we have the restaurant. And looks like lobster is their specialty. And we've got this giant lobster on the side. And we've got this rooster, like a weather thing to show you which direction the wind's blowing. I think that's what it's supposed to be. This has a slate roof, which I don't know if you guys are from the Midwest, but I lived in Ohio for like 12 years. And slate roofs are common out there. Not so much anymore. I mean, they remove them. And in fact, my father-in-law's roof is a slate roof. And those are really hard to repair. But it looks like this one's been repaired a few times. You do have the dock here with the lantern. And places to, tie up your boat. This lady's receiving service here with the special. Don't know what the special really is. Can't see that. We do have bags right here. And it looks like trash. And then you can see this Technic brick with the pins, which shows you that this is modular. And in fact, in a different picture, they're going to rearrange it to show you how modular this thing can be. So this is a great set. And I hope that they sell more than what they just lobster. I hope they do have fish and chips. But they don't want to be like California Fish Grill, where the menu item fish and chips don't automatically come with the chips. It's a side item. And in fact, there's a big ongoing lawsuit about it, and I'm going to leave a link in the description if you want some humor to see what a company is trying to get away with. And anyway, let's go ahead and let's go to the next one. Okay, we've got the fishing boat. Nothing really spectacular here. Simple, but yet it's functional. We've got these windows, and looking at it now, those are the same that are in the front of that shop, the souvenir shop. So I'm going to say that they're a different size window than what I've seen before. And they're not, you can see that they're not stud on top. They're just regular windows. And then here you got a marker buoy, which is very important. It leads the way or marks the way to let ships know if it's safe, what safe path they can take to get inside the harbor. And there we have one included in this set. All right, next we have what's inside the souvenir shop. And boy, do I just love this right here. This is a great thing here. All right, so what do we have here? You can probably tell that here we have what's supposed to be some Lego sets that have already been released before. We have right here the old fishing store. And this was a Lego idea set. In fact, this one here was set number 21310. And this was released in 2017 with 2,033 pieces and 4 minifigures. And in fact, in the description, it talks about how the designer of this current set is the brother of the guy who did the old fishing store. This looks like it's supposed to be the ship in the bottle. However, I am disappointed with it because Lego did come out with that set actually twice, and they came out with a piece that represents that in a different set. In fact, let me show you. It's right here. It's got the ship in the bottle. I really wish they would have put this in there instead of just a plain bottle, but, well, we're getting what we're getting, so there you go. Here is the Endurance that was just released about a year ago, and then we've got the Globe, and we've got the Titanic. Oh, who can forget that? And then right here we've got the motorized lighthouse, another great Lego set. So in this next picture, what we have here is we've got the lighthouse next to the general store. And again, I love the lighthouse. I think it's great. I don't think it's tall enough to be a lighthouse because it barely clears the building, which wouldn't really help a ship. However, you know something, they've got to do some budgetary constraints, and I understand that. So, what I really like, though, is this captain of the lighthouse, how he has the white beard. I would expect that. And then if you go to the front, you got a connector between the two. You got a little crab down here. You've got a surfboard sign with a life preserver. And I guess this has been here a little bit longer than a souvenir shop. It's been there since 1901 instead of 1965. And then you've got these windows right here. You've got this guy mailing off a letter in what looks like in the United States, a USPS blue postal thing box to drop off your mail. And then you've got a little kitty here on the side and a dead fish, and the cat's next to it. I don't know what it wants to do with it, and I don't care. Right here we've got the Technic brick with the pins again to make it modular. And keep in mind that the old fishing store would go nicely with this set. Of course, like I said, 2 brothers designed each one, so I think they're meant to go together. And then the next thing we have is Bricklink Designer Series 3 gave us the Harbor Master's office. And this is set number 910041. It was released earlier in 2025. It does feature 2,389 pieces and 6 minifigures. I do own a copy of this set, so I am so looking forward to placing this and this new set all inside the same area in my city. All right, let's move on to the next set. The next set in the lineup, it is the Sleepy Dragon Inn. And just looking at it from the very beginning, I love it. It has that medieval feel to it. It looks like an old cottage house, but much bigger. And, to top it off, you've got one of the forest men to help you create that feel. And you have here a warrior or a knight. It doesn't have a horse, so I'm not really sure. But anyway, just looking at the front, you've got a bay window right here. You've got the sign, you got a lantern, you got greenery, you got a birch tree right here. And we do have this log sticking out. Now that's going to be important later. The roof has some ivy growing on it with 2 gables right here. And again, they used a white plant just like they did. And I want to say that was the antique shop in Series 5. They used that as smoke. And they've done it in a couple other ones. But it's just really nice to see that. And let's go to the next picture. The next picture, the first thing I notice is this training dummy, and it looks like he's a Black Falcon soldier just based off the coloring. You have this guy giving a flower to somebody. You've got some greenery, including some pumpkin and some flowers here. You've got this musician here, and what is so appropriate, you've got a sign advertising his services right there. You got a couple barrels here. You've got a cat. You've got another bay window. You got a pigeon, which is a fairly new piece with Lego. It has been in a couple other sets like the train station, but anyway, it's a newer one, and I love the pigeons. And you got these brick right here work, and I love how they do it. They use regular just bricks, then they use the masonry brick profile, and then they use tiles and tile modifieds to round that all off to make it look like it's not perfect, which an old building wouldn't be perfect. Okay, let's head to the next picture. This is a back view of the whole entire set. I love how they had it open up in the back with hinge doors like this, and that looks really cool. And also you can see the roof come, well, not the roof, but the third level comes off from the rest of it. In this next picture, well, we've got a couple of things going on. The first one is we've got this pub slash bar going on. And that same guy that was outside, he also plays in here as a live band. And you've got this guy, he's on the dance floor, he doesn't know it, but you'll know it later on when I show you what it does. And then here we've got an eating table, we've got this fireplace here, and yes, there is a gear, that's going to be important later as well. We've got this semicircular staircase there. And then up here we've got an eating area, which there'll be another picture for us to view that later. And just another same thing, just different view of it. All right, here's where the stuff comes important. Okay, so what you do is you go ahead and you move this right here, and it makes the chicken or the turkey, whatever you want to call it, around the fireplace. It makes it rotate, so you get the perfect even cook. Yeah, I know. Who knows? But then the dance floor also moves, and this guy also sways to the music because of this little log right here. Really cool feature. I can't wait to try it out myself. In this next one, we have a top-down view of the second level, and this is where you see the Forest Man playing with, I think it's the Grim Reaper. Just kidding, I have no idea. He's playing cards with them. Apparently, someone was playing cards over here, but they walked away from the game. And in this next picture, you have the upper level, the actual inn part of it. And it's got a small fireplace with a separate room, and it has a larger bed, and it's got a chair here to sit next to the fire, and I don't know if the cat comes with it or someone brought it with them. And then here you've got a different room with 4 smaller beds and a place to store your weapons for the night. Okay, and here we go. Here is the picture of the minifigures. Like I said, I thought there was 8, and so there's 2 innkeepers, and there are 6 adventurers here. So we've got pretty much everything here. And I wanted to mention too that the roof is removable, as you see right here. You see these panels, they hold that right there. We've had other sets that have done that too. And the A-frame cabin's one, and the antique shop is another where the roof is very similar to this. So I thought that was pretty cool. The A-frame cabin came out in 2023, and the antique shop was just released in 2025. So, all right, let's go ahead and let's go back to the picture here. And then last we have the dimensions. Now, they have it in centimeters, and it's 35.4 centimeters, but if you're on the imperial system like I am in the US, that is a little bit under 14 inches, like 13.9, so let's call it 14. And this way 34.8 centimeters, which is 13 3/4 inch wide. All right, so this castle medieval theme is certainly not the first time Lego has done this when it comes to the Bricklink Designer set. So let's go ahead and let's look at a few of them. The first one they did was in the Bricklink Designer Invitational, is what they're calling it. And this was the set 91001. It's called Castle in the Forest. It's actually a really good set. I don't have a copy of this. I really wished I could have got it, but at the time I just didn't have the money. It was released in 2021. 1,928 pieces and a total of 6 minifigures. This next set, well, I know you guys like it, and I really like it. And the reason I know you guys like it is because the review video I made on this one is the most viewed video I have on my channel. And this is set number 910029. It was in the Bricklink Designer Series 1, and this one was released in 2024. 3,949 pieces, 8 minifigures, and in my opinion, this is one of the best Bricklink Designer sets so far. And the next in Bricklink Designer Series 3, they gave us the Forest Stronghold. This is supposed to be in an abandoned castle that was taken over by these bandits, and it's set number 910043. It was released in 2025. It has 3,395 pieces and a total of 12 minifigures. It is just a really awesome set. And next, we've been given the medieval seaside market. This is Designer Series 4. And this is set number 910047 with 2,560 pieces and a total of 9 minifigures. Really awesome because you've got land on the back side of it and you've got the dock on the other side of it, and it is definitely medieval. And next, this one has not been released yet, but the crowdfunding is over for it. And this is the Outlaw Forest Den. It is part of Bricklink Designer Series 6. This one just looks, I love it already. I love this wooden gate right here. And I mean, anyway, I just really like it. So what we have here is it's going to be 2,617 pieces and 10 minifigures. And like I said, crowdfunding's done for it, but it's going to ship approximately in March of 2026. This next one has not started the crowdfunding. In fact, crowdfunding for this one starts on February the 16th of 2026, so it's coming up in a few months. And this one here comes from the Bricklink Designer Series 7, and this is called the, I can never say this, I'm just going to show it to you, Alchemist, I think that's how you say it, shop, and I'm not really good, English is my first language, I'm not even that good at it. This one right here, it'll have 2,126 pieces and 6 minifigures. The last medieval one that's currently on the slate to be given to us comes from Series 8. It's called the Dust Mark Keep. It looks like it's more Middle Eastern, but it's still medieval. And so I will include it in here. And this one here, the crowdfunding begins on June the 1st of 2026, my birthday month. Thank you, Lego. And it is 4,000 pieces and 8 minifigures from what I can see. Again, though, I don't have a picture of the minifigures, so this is the best I can do. All right, let's move on to the 4th set in this series. The next set in the Series 9 is going to be called the Pumpkin Patch. This is the smallest of the sets, and it has the fewest pieces of all the sets that are in this particular series. It does have 565 pieces and 2 minifigures. This set also has a small stand here, along with pumpkins, flowers, some vines, some mushrooms, and a scarecrow, which I think is a nice touch to it. There isn't a whole lot to this set. There is a few haystacks that we'll see right here and here, and the pictures, they're just of different views. In fact, this one's even missing one of the minifigures, but there's not a whole lot to this set, but it's still, you know, the price point, it's probably going to be around $45, $50, I'm guessing, but that's not bad for that price point, and I do think this would be a great set. There's the 2 minifigures that we'll be getting, and there's the beginning. This one does loosely remind me of another set that Lego came out with, and that was in 2022. It was called the Farmer's Market Van. You've got a little bit of things growing here, and the stand is the van itself. So it does remind me of that, and this is has 298 pieces and 3 minifigures. All right, let's move on to the last set in this series. Last but certainly not least in this lineup is the Woodbrick Freight Depot. Now, Lego really knows how to wet my whistle, because this set right here, I love trains. And having, you know, my dad, he did model railroading, still does. He does HO scale. In fact, that's how I met the lug that I'm currently a part of, is because of my dad's shows that I've gone to. And when Lego started doing trains years ago, they combined my 2 favorite things, trains and Lego. And so I've always been a fan of these train sets. And I know a lot of you are too, because I see on the different forums online, people complain they don't come out with enough train stuff and that they neglect the train community. And to a degree, they really have. But in the Bricklink Designer sets, as I'm going to go over later, they have kind of made up for that by throwing some really detailed sets in here. But let's just start with this one and we'll move on to the other ones. Now, City is also my favorite theme, so I guess you could say it combines all 3 and it really hits the spot for me. This set, it contains 2,199 pieces and 7 minifigures. It does have a train car but no engine, but that's okay. We'll get to that. We've got a crane here. We've got a crate, which I think is really cool. Here, right here, it says Freight Depot. However, it looks like a post office on the inside, and I believe it is. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. And then you have the actual freight transfer warehouse right here. And then we've got a lorry for you in the Great Britain, and it'd be a truck in the U.S. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's look at the next picture. The roof is removable, and in fact, so is this right here. So if you don't want the crane at all, you can still have the building functional because there's another set of stairs hidden. So I thought that was a cool play feature to this. Next, we have a picture of the lorry. This kid looks a little nervous about giving this dog a bone, but okay, all right. Couple red buckets here, and let's go on to the next picture here. In this next picture, we have working action, and this is something that we've seen before in the blacksmith shop, the very first set we reviewed. And this here, you move the gear, and what happens is this door opens and closes. I think that's really cool. And in this next picture, you've got a dog pen, and you've got a watering place for the dogs, which is really cool. And you've got another door. This one is not connected to the gear. This is just one of those barn hanging doors, which I think is really cool how they did that with using these bars right here and this railing. And in this next picture, we have the inside of the freight transfer station. It looks really cool. You got a telephone. You've got a little bit of a desk here. I love how they use the hinge plates here to represent file drawers, which they're not, but they look like it. Looks like he's have his morning cup of joe. And they lit this brick, but I don't think it's really lit. But anyway, we have a train signal lantern here. We have a scale. We have a shelf here with a toolbox on it. And in this picture, what we have is what I believe to be the post office. Why do I think it's post office? Well, it looks like there's a scale there. And in addition, these look like post office box. She looks like a mail carrier, and she's got a letter that's stamped the way, or a letter that would be stamped like it would be in the U.S. So I believe it is. But it doesn't say post office on there, but I'm going to call it a post office. And we've got a place to hang your hat even here. So if you need to hang your hat, there you go. All right, next we have one of my favorite features of this set, and that is the working bathroom with the old pull chain, old style. And of course, well, we'd be in trouble if we didn't have the right amount of toilet paper now, would we? So there we have it. And we have a bucket here. I'm really hoping that's not in anticipation of any accidents that happen in the bathroom, but who knows? In this next picture here, we've got only one dimension. They don't give us the rest of the dimensions. This thing is 52 centimeters or 20.5 inches. To give you a reference, each 32 by 32 base plate is actually 10 inches by 10 inches. So this thing's going to be just a smidge longer than two base plates put together. And here we have the lineup of characters. We have Mr. Gibson, and it looks like the gaffer is what he's saying. Oh, that's a customs office. Carl, the customs officer. Hilda, the crane operator. I always think of some burly woman when I see Hilda. All right, or hear that word. We got Linda, the letter clerk. Okay, well, then maybe it is a post office. Pete, the porter. We got Bill, the farmer. Laura, the grandchild. Duchess, the champ, and Little Duke. That's referring to the dogs. And again, we're back to the first one, and let me just tell you that this is basically one of the few in the lineup of Bricklink Designer train sets, and let's review some more of these. Let's go to the first one. This is set number 91002. I say enough zeros? 910002. Okay, this is called Studgate Train Station. This one I love. I own a copy of it. It's got a double track on the inside. It's beautiful. It was released in 2023, 4,028 pieces and 11 minifigures. All right. Next, Lego decided to give us this old train shed. And this comes to us from Series 1. And I forgot to mention that first one is actually part of the Bricklink Designer Invitational. They renamed it, but I'm not going to get into that. Series 1 here gave us the old train shed. Set number 910033, released in 2024. It features 2,304 pieces and a total of 6 minifigures. No train on it either, but we do have the brick built doors, which I really like. Anyway, I do own 2 copies of this one actually, because we're going to eventually do a mock, but this is not to promote what I'm doing on my channel. This is to talk about Series 9, so we'll move on from here. Next, we have another Bricklink Designer set. This is Series 2, and it's set number 910034, named Brick Cross. Now, initially, you look at it and you go, that's not a train station. Well, you have to look over here, right here. It is indeed a train station. If you look at the back picture, you can see it there too. This train station here, it was released in 2024, and it's very stylish. I love it. I'm not going to review it fully, but it's a great set. 2,731 pieces and 3 minifigures. I mentioned this other one before, and this is the logging railway. I think it, again, just fits into the train category. Yes, also I think Midwest, but I do like it. The red caboose is awesome. And this set has 2,140 pieces and 12 minifigures. The last one on the list right here is the Wild West train. This is set number 910044, and it was released this year, and I do own a copy of it. It is 2,140 pieces included and 12 minifigures. This last one has not come out yet. It's been announced. Crowdfunding starts June 1st of 2026 as part of Series 8, and this will be a diesel locomotive. Now, this I love because, again, my dad collects HO scale model trains, and this one here reminds me of several of the trains. And in fact, Lego did the Santa Fe years ago. It kind of does look like it, just more detailed because, well, as time has gone on, Lego's created more pieces, more colors, and they can do something like this. And it's called the Brick Railroad on the side there, and it's just simply called the Brick Railroad Locomotive. It's going to have 1,428 pieces and 1 minifigure from what I can see. I can't see inside the cabin, so I don't really know, but this one's coming to you, and you can start ordering it in June of 2026. Thank you for getting this far into the video and helping me through it. You and a little bit of caffeine, I should say. I hope you'll smash that like button. I hope you enjoy reviews like this. This is the first one that I've done like this, but I absolutely love the Bricklink Designer Series, as I've mentioned before. And as you know on my channel, I've reviewed several of them and built several of them on live streams. So I would appreciate if you hit that like button, subscribe, and leave me a comment below if you're on YouTube, and turn on all notifications. Now, if you're over on Rumble, give it a rumble, follow the channel, leave me a comment. What kind of comments can you leave this time? Anything you want, but it would be nice to hear, are you planning on getting any of these? Which one was your favorite? Which one's your least favorite? Do you have any criticisms? Do you have any attaboys you want to give Lego for this? I just want to hear your thoughts on this series, because it's a great series. All right, guys, I'm going to leave out everything that I normally say afterwards. I'll just include one, and that is head by Bricklink store. Links in the description. All right, guys, be good to each other, stay safe out there, and I'll catch you on the next video.